In this segment, Stephanie Miller is joined by Charlie Pierce. Together, they discussed a high-stakes case that was just settled between Fox News and Dominion. Here's Stephanie.
Good morning, Charlie. You wrote...
Good morning. How's everybody?
Good. You wrote in this piece, the Democrats listened politely as some victims of crime told their stories, and the Republicans pretended they gave a flying about them. That's exactly what this was. I mean, just the stunt that Gerald just described.
I mean, I have seen political farces in my day.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable. I mean, it was so transparent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you got a really good look at the B team of the House Judiciary Committee.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Some of those folks.
I'm enjoying these hearings more than I thought I would, though, because our side is so good. Mm-hmm. The Dan Goldmans and whatever, they just keep calling, and Adam Schiff, they just keep calling out their BS, and they're just so much smarter. They're armed with the facts. I mean, they just pelted Jordan with crime statistics from Ohio, right?
Right. Cicilline wants the next hearing to be in Ohio.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And that was ruled out of order.
Yeah.
We had a parliamentary inquiry, and according to the exacting standards of Chairman Jordan, it was not a proper parliamentary inquiry.
See, the only thing I was disappointed, honestly, they didn't go after the Ohio State. If you're going to talk about crime, and I get it, like Republicans always play nicer. Republicans would have done it, right?
Well, yeah, but the Republicans did a lot of, semi-anti-Semitic Soros stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was their big thing, and that Alan Bragg is a puppet of George Soros, who, as we know, controls the world.
Yes. Who's never met Alvin Bragg and didn't give him any money.
But I gotta tell you though, I mean, I don't have a lot of fondness for Lynn Cheney.
Yeah.
But my God, they replaced her with a horror.
Yeah, Liz Cheney. Right. Harriet
eyes.
Hagman. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Double H, as opposed to the Triple H, the lawyer.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Oh my God, yeah. We played some of that earlier. She's a horror show.
We call it Crazy Eyes.
The psychoses and the drugs and
Yes.
and the inanimate object.
Mm-hmm. Yes, right. The guns are just inanimate objects.
I thought you were talking about Charles Grassley myself, but
yeah, I see what you did there. Okay, let's talk about. You wrote another day, another adventure in Clarence Thomas finances, and you said, "I swear to Almighty God, I think we're a week or so away from discovering the storm on the Sea of Galilee is hanging over on the wall in the foyer belonging to Justice Thomas." Damn me if there doesn't seem to be a news story every day about how he finagled his financial disclosure rules covering people in his job. I mean, I'm happy that at least that it looks like they're going to do ethics hearings. Because I'm tired of us saying, well, John Roberts should do something. He's not going to do anything, right? So at least
that's because he's working in a food truck on National Mall.
Is he? That's what you reported that.
He's hiding out selling jerk chicken.
See, there's little known details that only you know to report. So you said it takes
absolutely. He served me up an Italian ice and some jerk chicken the other day. It was nice.
You said it takes little effort to understand the ethical morass that is the ongoing bromance between Justice Thomas and collector of Hitler merchandise Harlan Crow, but it's not hard to understand reporting revenue from a company that hasn't existed for 17 years. As he's done several times in his career, the justice is going to amend his disclosure reports, this time to account for the very weird real estate deal he made with Crow involving his mother's house. We were just talking about that, Charlie, that almost anyone can understand that. You're like, wait. Clarence Thomas' mother got to live rent-free, for how many years?
I mean,
how do I get that deal?
The whole thing with Harlan Crow is kind of hard to understand. But claiming you're getting money from a company that doesn't exist anymore, everybody understands that.
Right.
Okay? Everybody understands that that's wrong.
Right. Right.
It's gotten to be ridiculous now. It's a steady drumbeat, and this is just Clarence Thomas.
Yeah.
I mean, I want people to remember that Antonin Scalia died on one of those junkets.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I mean, these people have all been doing this. Sam Alito got to brag about the Dobbs decision in Rome.
Yeah. Yes.
At a conference.
Yeah. But I mean, no, that's what you were saying is the sadder thing is this is just business as usual for these, men of privilege that have been getting away with it for God knows how long. You wrote about what's his name? The Kazmarek, the guy who just made this awful ruling on the abortion
he's a real
bill.
Prize.
Yeah, but that he wrote an article that, of course, he tried to hide before his is it a Senate hearing, whatever it is? You said
Well,
Washington.
his confirmation here.
Yeah,
He knew he was going to be put up for. He'd already done his interviews at the White House,
yeah,
so he knew he was going to be put up for the position. But he also knew he was going into the confirmation hearings, and he had this byline on this lunatic law review article, and he didn't want that to come up, so he just called the editor of the law review, and he had his name taken off it.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you said he was clumsier than most of the anti-choice judges in camouflaging what we all knew was their position on abortion during his confirmation hearings. And but the way I love the way you put it. You said, what a punk move. The fierce warrior for the unborn disappears a fierce defense of his fierce opinion because he was up for a lifetime gig in which he could put those opinions fiercely into action and wreck people's lives. Now, that's strength of character. I mean, there's a cowardice through all of it, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, this is, the Dobbs. One of the things the Dobbs decision did was demonstrate forever that 2 generations of Republican judicial nominees were lying their asses off in front of the Senate.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, that's just because I haven't, except for what's her name, Nancy Mace.
Yeah.
All of the Republicans are living quite happily with what happened after Dobbs. I mean, it's going to cost them all elections, but nobody's trying to reverse the position at all.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. Well, I mean, I love how you put it. You said the open question is how seriously the Senate will take having been so obviously hornswoggled. Every senator knows that conservative nominees are trained to fudge their anti-choice fervor in the hopes of bamboozling the likes of Susan Collins. But it's entirely possible that Kaczmarek's dodge, combined with his recently acquired infamy, may be too gross to ignore. So you were saying Ted Lieu and Dan Goldman have already called for an investigation. Yeah, as you said, I love to see him at least have to wiggle on the hook.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I think White House has probably got its teeth into this issue too. He's been waiting for one of these. Scenarios for a long time.
Yeah. Well,
and of course now the president can't get any judges through,
right?
Because Dianne Feinstein won't get out of the way, and because the rules of the Senate enable people like Marsha Blackburn and Tom Cotton to block any replacement.
I think they're all blocking
which we said yesterday, Charlie. I said, yeah, anything that depends on the decency of the Republican Party, you knew they weren't going to help. And on cue, GOP ministers won't help. Yeah.
Because I just looked this up. In 1970, Pope Paul VI took the voting privileges away for subsequent conclaves of any cardinal who was over 80 years old. The United States Senate is behind the times compared to the Roman Catholic Church on this.
Yeah.
Roll that around in your head.
Yeah. Well, we were saying earlier, I think it was Norm Ornstein said that, you can't count on any, even just basic decency they would have given to a colleague that's out ill. Like, you knew they were going to be.
But, Kirsten Gillibrand is running the ball for Feinstein, too. I mean, there's a split among the Democrats about it.
Right. Yeah, and I understand it. I understand Nancy Pelosi saying you haven't seen this kind of standard with a man, or Chuck Grassley, as you mentioned, who is 11 billion years old. But, I think it's not just the shingles. It's that there have been a number of stories about her, I don't know what you want to call it, mental state, I guess.
Yeah. And at the very least, if you want to stick to the shingle story, you should have had a plan in place to replace her at least temporarily so you can get some work done.
Yeah. Well, it's just, we were saying these are not ordinary times. We are facing fascism and these right-wing lunatic judges, and it's what, like 58 votes she's missed. So that's why it becomes, beyond an emergency.
Yeah, and you've got, you've got that. You've got Dick Durbin for some reason clinging to the whole blue slip idea, which the Republicans don't respect at all.
Right. They don't respect any rules or decorum that we've ever had. And I like, you wrote about, just they are paying the price for this politically, Charlie, and it's interesting. You said they all know where the general sentiment of the country is on this issue. They've all read the horror stories from the emergency wards and bewildered OBGYNs who aren't sure whether saving a mother's life is still legal in their state. Jesus. They all know that they're being led toward the abyss by the theocratic cracker factories that make up the heavily gerrymandered state legislatures, and none of them has the guts to stand up and cry, hold enough. And then you talk about Trump, who, you said the only prospective 2024 presidential candidate, you say his that his many positions on the issue. He's such an inveterate liar. No one takes anything he says on it seriously. But he can argue convincingly that he did deliver for them on judges. He did deliver the anti-choice side. It's a dream come true. Now he gets to be above the fray on this anyway, while the rest of them flounder amid the chaos that his judges have inflicted upon the rest of us. I mean, it's true, right? Didn't even Trump say, "Oh, that's going to be bad for them"? It's you did this.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at Nikki Haley, can't come up with a position. Tim Scott's a mess.
Yeah.
And Ron DeSantis' campaign seems to be disincorporating around him.
Yeah. Oh my God, Jody, what was the story you brought up off air about? Oh, Ron DeSantis is threatening to what is it now? Build a cemetery next to Disney?
No, a prison.
No, he's going to build
a prison next to Disney World.
Prison, yeah.
I mean, he's gotten his ass kicked by them, and he can't stand it. He's just trying to find a way to be.
It's the new attraction, prison land.
Yeah, yeah.